Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to this week's PM Square Tech and Trends live stream. We have a super exciting one today about watsonx, a fairly new product from IBM that Oliver and I are going to take you through. My name is Rory Cornelius. I'm the analytics practice lead here at PM Square, and I have Oliver joining us. But before we jump in, I want to encourage you all to check out our previous live streams that we've done on this. We've been doing them weekly for a couple of months now. So there's a lot of great content out there on our YouTube channel. Check that out. And for future ones, check out our PM Square website. There's a really interesting one on Encorta coming up next week. I encourage you to check out. I also want to encourage you to comment, ask us questions. Like I said, this is a new product. We're all kind of learning it and going through it together. So I'm sure there are a ton of questions out there from people. Throw them in the comments. Oliver and I will try to get to them as we step through, and just make sure this is an interactive experience here. So with that, I will hand it over to Oliver. Feel free to introduce yourself and jump in.
Sure, yeah. I'm Oliver. I'm an associate consultant. I've been watching the live streams. I'm part of PM Square. I'm really excited to be participating in my first one. Let me just present my screen really quick. I have a presentation for us all to take a look at. Yeah, so watsonx Orchestrate. We already introduced ourselves, but we'll just take a look at that slide really quick. I'll give you guys the introduction to watsonx Orchestrate, show you a quick demo. We'll talk about some of the things that Orchestrate can do for you, and then we're just gonna finish off after that. But yeah, like Rory already said, he's a practice lead, senior solutions architect. I'm an associate consultant. So what is watsonx Orchestrate? Basically, it's an AI-powered process automation platform. What that means is that it's going to be stringing activities from your different applications together. It's going to have it all in sort of one hub for you. And all of this is backed by AI to varying capacities, from natural language to helping make decisions for you, making recommendations, etc. So like I said, there's a natural language interface to this. It makes it very easy for your business users to actually take advantage of Watson Orchestrate. A lot of Orchestrate will be deployed in what's called AI assistants. So they can just ask using the words that they're already using to perform these actions. It's a low code workflow orchestration platform. Basically, what that means is that while there may be some code involved at different points, for example, the APIs, if you want to use your own custom applications, there's a little bit of that. But in terms of actually orchestrating your workflows, potentially you don't have to see code at all. What this does is allows your less technical users to also build automations that could be really useful for your group. Uh, it's integrating AI capabilities across enterprise systems. You can choose your large language model. Orchestrate's also able to connect with other AI tools that aren't just Orchestrate. For example, watsonx AI can integrate into this platform, and it enhances employee productivity. So it it's really good at taking these manual processes that require you to jump around and do a bunch of different things to, complete a task that really shouldn't be taking all of your employees' time, and just allows that to happen faster.
Hey, Oliver, before we move on there, I'm guessing we have a bunch of business users watching this that maybe aren't as technical that kind of get to this level. And I mean, everybody's kind of familiar with Chat GPT at this point. That's been in the news, and people use it to like answer questions and stuff. How would you compare Orchestrate to something like Chat GPT? What makes them different?
Definitely. Yeah. So ChatGPT would be a general purpose AI model. So there's a couple of important things there. One, uh, as the user, we don't have a ton of control over what it says. You could get into the idea of prompt engineering, but to keep it not super technical, uh, ChatGPT is just going to answer the questions the best that it can. It doesn't have any special access to not. So, for example, Watson Orchestrate, you could directly connect, let's say, your employee handbook. And now, using the AI assistant, you can say, I don't want you to look at the internet at all. I want you to only reference the employee handbook when employees are asking questions. And that way, you know exactly what information it got and what information it's going to give. The other thing it can do is you're directly connecting to applications that your employees are using. ChatGPT doesn't necessarily directly connect to applications. What it can do, what GPT can do, is make recommendations for things to do, but then you actually have to go and do those things. So
Ah, so it's like ChatGPT. It can answer questions, but it can actually also actually do the things, not just tell you what to do.
exactly.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's where this becomes very powerful and where it becomes specialized for your business as opposed to just wanting to, ask a question, know a good recipe,
Mhm.
uh, things that'll help you a lot more. Uh, so yeah, we can just jump into the demonstration then. Or I don't know if we have any questions in the comments right now.
No, that's fine.
Not
You can
yet.
go ahead and jump in. I'll keep an eye and interrupt you if I need to.
For sure. All right. Yep. Let me just switch my screen over to our demo. All right. So this is our virtual assistant or our AI assistant that we have created for today. This could be embedded in your employee website. It could also be a client facing AI assistant. You can make multiple assistants. Um, but for right now, this is our PTO bot. So I just need to request leave. All right, so we're gonna pick the day we want off. So let's say 17th. Want to end on the 18th. We want to note uh, taking some time off. And then we can get this confirmation here. So it's just giving us back what we already had. And now that I think about it, I actually want to change my leave start date 10/18. I only want one day off. So it's gonna just throw it right back at me. I only want one day off. I have my note. All right, that looks good. Now it's running in the
Okay.
background.
So that's
And
kind of yeah, that's interesting. You can just type it in and request. Okay. What else is going on here?
yeah, so in the background, that little pause you saw,
Mhm.
actually, I have another tab open. This is Harvest. It's a time tracking app in case you guys haven't seen it before. I've actually done some a Watson Orchestrate demonstration with this before on our YouTube channel. But over here, we can see that that time just got tracked 8 hours and pending approval. So just with that quick demonstration, I asked for the time off. I said what day I wanted, and now the time is already in here. Just waiting for my manager to approve it.
Gotcha.
Now,
Oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. So it's a relatively simple demonstration. I have one more, but I'll get to that in just a second. Uh, So that might be one step in your PTO process. Maybe the next step would be, sending the message over to the manager. And again, you can do that in Orchestrate. You could have the approval. Maybe you set up the meeting with the employee if it is something important that requires a meeting, you can keep stringing these processes together. It doesn't have to just end here. Um, and yeah, you could again just keep customizing, like you would have seen if you've seen the harvest video. That's a custom application that we have integrated into here, so that's not pre-built. Um,
Gotcha. So you could actually like integrate this with Outlook or other email systems and have that tied in as well?
yeah, so natively in Orchestrate, there is Outlook and Gmail. All you have to do is specify how you want that to work within your organization. So if you want your employees to, use a shared team credential or what have you, for who is sending those emails, who the origin of those emails is. Uh, like I was sort of mentioning earlier about answering questions, I have also put a sample PTO policy, and I have that highlighted on my assistant here. So we can ask it, and it's not going to search the internet. It's going to check the policy that I put in there. How much PTO time do I get? It'll take a second to think about it, but yep. I accrue PTO rate of 1.5 days per month, according to this policy. And I've even customized the assistant to cite where in the policy it says that. I'll just ask one more question just to show it off. Let's see. How much PTO can I roll over? All right, so I can carry up to 120 hours, which is also the maximum accrual cap,
Well,
according to
that's
this policy.
cool that you can add in the reference there. I know people have these, questions about hallucinations in
Mhm.
AI and stuff, but to be able to have that to reference back to when you request something from your manager and they're like, you don't get that much time, you can at least have a reference to point them to and say, here's where it came from. How
Yeah, exactly. Mhm.
are we going to get into that as part of the demo of how you set that up?
Yeah, I definitely. So that's why I have for this assistant. We can sort of take a step back and look at what the builders are looking at, and then maybe if we have time, take even maybe another step back and show where harvest came from in all of this. But
Gotcha.
yeah, so if we step over to actions here, uh, this would be where your builder is creating these actions for your assistant. And by the way, I didn't define what actions were. Uh, those are discrete functions that your assistant is doing. So requesting leave was an action. PTO questions is its own action. The PTO time entry, I'll try to quickly explain that. Since we were using a custom built skill using Harvest, one way to add that to the assistant is to add it as an action, and then request leave will just reference it. So let's just
Hey,
take a look.
Oliver, can we
Mhm.
can we take a quick step back before that? So
For
this
sure.
is the watsonx Orchestrate interface. So if somebody got Orchestrate or like purchased a license, got it from IBM,
Mhm.
is where is Orchestrate hosted?
Sure. So yeah, Orchestrate is sort of hosted as its own environment. This would be the page you would land on. If you were just typing this in for the first time and you logged in. Um, this is more of the builder side, but you can go to the chat. That would be another way to try out your skills, but you can jump into the AI assistant builder to look at the specific assistants that you've built, that you're working on, and it'll just take a second to load. But
Gotcha. So I think IBM hosts this, and I think you can request a temporary license to it if you wanted to play
Mhm.
around with it out in IBM's cloud. Um,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. It's a 30-day trial, I believe.
Okay.
Mhm.
Um, and just from a new user perspective, um, do you think it's something that somebody could just jump in and use, or what recommendations would you have of kind of getting up to speed other than this live stream, of course?
Definitely. So we have a couple of resources out right now. I've also made a blog post about it. I don't know if I had mentioned that yet. I have a video. There's some pretty good Watson Orchestrate documentation on the IBM site, so you can go there. They also have, if you go to the IBM site and look at Orchestrate, have a couple of great demos that you can click through. And what I like about those demos actually is that they give you some perspectives. So there's the user perspective demo where you click through, kind of like what we were looking at. You're looking at the assistant, asking the questions. I believe the one that I clicked through recently was also an HR related one, making a job requisition and showing how, as a user, with just a few clicks, uh, that HR manager, for example, was able to request a certain position and get, whatever the salary is supposed to be, and create that posting. And then another demo to click through where you're the builder and you're back on this side that we're looking at right now, where you create actions, and or rather a skill flow that allows a user to make that requisition in just a few clicks. So yeah, there's definitely a couple of different resources out there to get yourself up to speed. But in 30 days, you should definitely have some good time to play around, and hopefully create something that shows you how powerful this is.
Gotcha. Yeah, thanks for that. Okay, so now what are we back looking at here? We're looking at some skills that you put together.
Yeah, that's right. So these are the actions of our assistant. So we can just take a look at this request leave action. Uh, we have sort of two ways to view this. We can sort of take a look at it here. Uh, this can be pretty useful if you have a lot of branching content, but this actually looks more complicated than it is. It's a pretty simple flow, but you see, we ask what time you want to start your time off, record that as a date, time you want to end your PTO. So just capturing information. Here's the one that says uh, the basically what you've put in brings it back to you. You can either confirm or not. So if what you wanted to put for your details wasn't what you wanted, this step says that we're just going to re-ask those questions. Or as you saw, I can just type in the specific detail I wanted to change. So I wanted my PTO start date to change. And instead of running me through the whole conversation again, it just took me right back to this question, and had me confirm that that start date was the one I wanted. And then this step would be kicking us over to our harvest action and submitting to manager for approval. So
Gotcha.
in
So it's
all,
just
yeah,
like a nice little flow chart to lay out your conversation.
that's right. Yeah, it can be helpful to sort of visualize your conversation flow using this chart, and definitely as you sort of tap into more of the power of Orchestrate, it becomes more and more useful as you have more things to say, more processes to complete. Uh, but yeah, we can also take a look at our PTO time entry. So basically, we just have some recorded. Uh, I This might not be the best way to take a look at it, I guess, but basically calling our API that we have, showing off some of our parameters, just recording them. It's as simple as that. Kicking over to our next API call. So that's nice and simple. all you have to do is if you have your API or your open API specification, um, you can just put it in the assistant, and if you know which uh, parameters you're using, you just fill them in, and
So
yeah, it
where
should
did
work.
those parameters come from?
So those would be defined in your API specifications, the ones that you would need to complete actions. So within the PTO time entry, we actually do something a little bit tricky here. So with the Harvest API specifically, you you start an entry and then you stop it and then you update it, and that's how you can get it to just record an entry. Because if you just start it, it starts a timer.
Hmm.
Um, so what
So
we're
with the
doing,
Harvest API, with that, the open API spec, is that the low code part of what we were talking about before? Where if there's not an integration, that's where it comes in?
yeah. So it uses either JSON or YAML, which are uh, less program heavy code. It's just sort of defining the parameters that get thrown to Harvest, and then Harvest is the one that is actually uh, doing the request. So
Okay.
yeah, I hope that answers that question.
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, so uh, you know, uh, we you can just in a few minutes, if you know that's works, you have to do something a little tricky like that. As long as you know what information needs to go there, you can just define it. And the request leave action, recorded my PTO start date, and it threw that over into the Harvest API. So just automatically recorded that, and then I for this demo, I just had it set to, if you're taking a day off, that's probably 8 hours. So I just had to automatically record 8 hours. We don't need to ask how many hours. Um, our other action that we were using is our PTO questions. So this one is a little bit more AI facing. So here we have some of the example phrases. I do want to say these AI guided actions are super easy to create. These phrases don't have to be exact, but sort of a best practice when you're using uh, a large language model is to suggest a lot of different phrases so that the model can sort of learn the pattern of how people might be asking for PTO, for example. But as you saw, I didn't ask uh, most of these questions. I just asked a question about PTO and then it answered it. So
Right, so we can
that
kind of figure out based your intent based on what
mhm,
your phrase is,
mhm.
to figure out what you're asking for.
That's right. So yeah, we use these to help train it, but we don't expect users to say any of those things specifically. Um, Here we can select our model. Right now, Orchestrate has 4 models that you can use for this purpose. And then this is where we add our knowledge and our instructions. So as you can see, you get 10,000 characters. So maybe the entire employee handbook doesn't fit in 10,000 characters. That's totally okay. If you could even split it into sections that are a little bit smaller than that, you might have AI action for your PTO time, AI action for salary, etc. Uh, with everything else set up, it still would not take you more than several minutes to set up your AI guided actions. And all I
Okay,
had
so
to
you
do
could
was
string these together too and have a separate action for each type of information that you're asking for, but still have a single front end.
exactly. So the user wouldn't even necessarily know that there's multiple actions happening or being jumped in between, because all they're doing is asking a question, and it's just going to pull the information that's relevant to that question.
I see.
And yeah, adding the knowledge is as simple as copying and pasting you have. So this is the the sample policy I grabbed. And at the end, sort of like you were saying, Rory, there's that concern of where is this information coming from. So I sort of wanted to show that for prompt instruction, I said to cite the text whenever you give an answer. That way, at least in this example, the employee knows, all right, this is in the handbook, and this is where in the handbook it said that. Um, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's where we can add in extra things of how we want it to respond to our questions.
Yeah, and it doesn't need to just be something like citing the text. It it could be needlessly complicated, up to 1,000 characters of however specific. If you want it to say it in some sort of tone, if you want to. I don't know if the viewers have used ChatGPT before, but people can make it really goofy. Not that you would want to do it for a business case, but have
Reply
it
like a
answer like a
pirate.
pirate. Yeah,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
that's funny that yeah, we both thought of that. Um, but yeah, so you can be very complicated with it, and the nice thing about that is that if your organization does have some more strict rules to how these questions should be answered, there's enough space for you to include that.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, it gives you a ton of flexibility, I would have to think, to be able to answer particular ways for sure.
yeah. So that was my demo for you guys. So let's jump back over to the presentation. I'll get that for us.
So I guess, quick question, as you're moving over there, how long would you expect something like that demo you put together? How long would that take from a developer standpoint?
I would say getting your API in. If you're only grabbing the specific API actions that you need for this demo, for example, which was three, you know,
Mhm.
maybe an hour or two. It shouldn't take too long. The demo itself, uh, maybe one more hour of time. So in just a couple of hours of your time. And with the AI guided action, that's more like minutes. Um, it if it's something you've done before too, it take even
Mhm.
less time. So it can be pretty quick. Within a day, you could have an assistant that is answering questions or recording time or sending out emails. So you can get this up and running pretty quickly, and yeah, just the more you're adding on that, the more time you're going to be saving your employees too.
So that was the, low code option. I know
Mhm,
Orchestrate, kinda sells itself as no code also. What would
mhm.
be an example of something you could put together with no code?
Yeah, so a no code option could be sort of putting together a chat flow, which we saw a little bit of in the requesting time off. You can also use, if you're using the pre-built skills as a builder, even you don't even see the API document side of that. All of that's been pre-configured. So if you were to call a pre-built skill in your assistant, uh, it would just take you to that skill. It would ask the information that was required. So that would definitely be your no code option. And I would say the AI guided action is uh, pretty much a no
Mhm.
code option too. Maybe light prompt engineering, but I don't even really want to go that far because you saw it was just a single sentence that said cite the text.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
that's pretty, straightforward. So the built-in out-of-the-box integrations, like, what are out there currently, and how has IBM been adding them?
yeah, so uh, at the beginning there was a handful of apps, a handful of things you could do. Sending emails, send a message, grab emails from your inbox, but in the last year, they've really been adding more and more apps. I want to say Cognos is on there. There's a lot of Workday integrations. They've continued to add those. I want to say SAP is on there too.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of pre-built things that are very common applications in companies. So
Mhm.
really the custom built integrations, like in our case, we happen to track time using Harvest. So, all it takes is grabbing that API. But if your company is using very well known apps, there's a pretty good chance it's already on Orchestrate as a pre-built skill. So that cuts, that first hour
Mhm.
of work, which is pretty much half the time it takes to build the assistant anyway at that point. So
Yeah, I think
um
last I saw there was like 30 integrations. I don't know what the full
mhm,
count is up to. I think they've been adding them pretty regularly, so that number
yeah.
continues to grow.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I can't say for certainty without looking at it because they've been adding it pretty frequently. Um, but yeah, I think as you saw, we've already sort of jumped into some of these. Um, this is freeing up time from your manual tasks. So, let's just make asking for PTO really easy, or let's just instead of sending an email to HR asking about the policy that's in the handbook that, you didn't read, um, let's just have a nice AI assistant that can just answer that question for you. Let's not take any more time from anyone else. Or maybe even you could look at it from the perspective of, yeah, our employees read the handbook, but they don't read it every week. They don't know everything that's in
Mhm.
that handbook all the time. Instead of asking them, to spend some of their time reading the handbook again, let's just send them over to this assistant that knows everything that's in there and cites the section. So,
Well, that kind of brings up another use case that pops into my head. So, like employee onboarding, when a new
mhm.
employee comes, there's like a ton of different applications that they probably have to be set up in and security set up. Is that something that Orchestrate could help with?
Yes, that is definitely a good use case for Orchestrate. Doing that, you could, have the assistant just throw the information that the employee needs to get, in the order that they need to get it. Send them over to wherever they need, or just input information and have it distribute out to whatever systems need to have it, and answer questions along the way. So, maybe that won't be employee handbook uh, specific things being written, but if you can maybe prepare one or two paragraphs of information to answer questions about onboarding, that could even again just save a little bit more time. This new employee maybe a little confused, just ask some questions, hopefully get those
Yeah, I
answers
could
really
even
quickly.
see things like, a new employee in an office, you don't always know where all the meeting rooms are. You could put
Hmm.
something in there about like, where is this meeting room?
Hmm.
And it could probably give you some decent directions.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can put anything, any information you want, any information you think would be useful into that guided action. And
Yeah, I could see that onboarding process taking quite a bit of time for either HR employee, managers,
Mhm.
the actual new employee. Everybody kind of contributes to that process, and it seems like that could save a ton of time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in memory, onboarding, can take a few days. It could take up to a week. So, and the whole time you're talking to your manager, you're talking to other employees, just trying to
Hmm.
get those initial, modules and trainings done, just so you can actually start working. So, um, yeah, using integration like that would make it way faster. And actually, I did want to just quickly jump back to you're talking about, oh, where are the meeting rooms?
Hmm.
Um, if it's an application that you either have to integrate yourself, or if it's something done through email, you could also on the very same chat with the assistant say, where are the meeting rooms, and then okay, let's set a meeting there. Next week
Mm.
at this time. So the employee doesn't have to go between multiple apps. They they get their answer and they set their meeting and send out the invites. All in that same chat flow in the matter of maybe 5 minutes if they are struggling to read. um,
Gotcha. Yeah. Keep them in one place instead of jumping around between different applications. I know I'm doing that all day long. It'd be nice to focus in and just have everything answered right where you're at.
yeah, no, I believe uh, the information is that employees are using some 12 or 13 applications a day,
Mm.
something along those lines. So just having sort of a hub to even if you're not eliminating all of them, eliminating some of those. So it's maybe only three different applications, maybe Orchestrate in
Mhm.
your email and, the one other thing. But yeah, it just cuts down that clicking through stuff. It feels less like multitasking, which really just kind of slows you down and makes it feel a lot more like you're just doing one thing and you're kind of focused on that.
Right, and some of
Mhm.
those monotonous tasks that you get tired of doing all the time anyway.
Mhm.
Let an application take care of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, mm, and yeah, that's where I think that this, uh, yeah, the first point and the third point, I guess, kind of go hand in hand. But yeah, freeing up time from manual tasks if it's not on Orchestrate already, which it definitely could be at this point. It's pretty easy to put your own applications onto Orchestrate, so you're empowering them with the applications that you already use. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to download something because it's Orchestrate
Mhm.
integrated. You just use the application that you use. Um,
Gotcha. So yeah, pretty flexible. Can connect to whatever and yeah, help reduce that. Yeah,
mhm.
sounds pretty powerful.
Yeah, and I think let's see if we had any other questions out here. Doesn't look like it. So I'll just jump to this last slide if you're ready.
Yeah,
Um,
go for it.
but yeah, so you know, next up, if you're interested in Orchestrate, at the very least, look it up. There is that 30-day free trial, so you can sort of get that environment running and start trying it out. As I sort of mentioned in the video, I have some other Orchestrate content out there. I have a video and a blog post, so definitely check that stuff out. If you have already contacted PM Square before, it should be pretty simple to contact those people if you have some questions about Orchestrate. We're excited about this product. IBM's excited about this product, so we definitely want to help people start their Orchestrate journey. Roy, is there anything else you wanted to add
Yeah,
there?
I mean, I would just say, yeah, we'd love to work on a project with you. We're always about process improvement here. Kind of always has been as consultants. We look at ways that we can improve things, and this is just a new product from IBM that can really make that to the extreme. That we can truly improve the processes that you're going through, and we'd love to talk to you about some use cases that you have that we could explore and figure out ways to help your business.
Mhm. Yeah, well, thanks to everyone who came to the live stream today. Thank you, Rory, for being here. This
Yeah,
is,
great demo,
yeah,
Oliver. Appreciate it.
yeah, thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Yep. Have a good one, everyone.